Okay, so I'm going to now work through number 3. Again, we have this conversion and this formula. So the first thing I want to do is double check to see if I have any degrees Celsius. And I actually have 2 different values that are in degrees Celsius, so I need to use this conversion. So degrees Celsius plus 273 gives me kelvins. So I want to go ahead and convert this 50 degrees Celsius and -5 degrees Celsius to kelvins before I do anything else. So this one is going to end up, so 50 degrees Celsius ends up being 323 kelvins. -5 degrees Celsius ends up being 268 kelvins. So I've actually gone into the problem and just kind of rewrote those. Now I'm going to go ahead and figure out which variables I have and which variables I'm going to be solving for. So a sample of hydrogen gas has an initial temperature, so my initial temperature, of 323 kelvins. When its temperature is lowered to 268 kelvins, so this is my temperature 2, the volume of the hydrogen gas becomes 212 milliliters. So we're going to be solving for initial volume because it's saying what was the initial volume, okay? But just kind of looking at my reading comprehension, it's low, we have temperature lowered to something, so that gives us a hint that that's the new temperature. And also the volume becomes something, which also gives us another tip that this is volume 2, okay? So now I just want to write out my formula. So V1 over T1 is equal to V2 over T2. I'm solving for V1, so that's what I want to shift this equation around to solve for. So the first thing I always do here is I just cross multiply. I think that's the simplest way to get rid of the fraction. So V1 T2 is equal to T1 V2. And again, I'm solving for V1. So I need to get V1 by itself. So I divide each side by T2 to move T2 over. So V1 is equal to T1 times V2 divided by T2. So now I just plug everything in. So V1 is equal to, T1 is 323 kelvins. V2 is 212 milliliters. T2 is 268 kelvins. I have kelvins in the numerator and the denominator, so those cancel out. And now I can grab my calculator. So 323 times 212, and then I hit the equal sign, divided by 268. And I end up getting 255.51 because there's a 7 here, I'm going to round so that my decimals are 51, not 50. And I have milliliters here that has not been canceled out, so that's going to be my unit.